Hello everyone, this is OPS, Olympic Peninsula Spotlight. I'm your host Rick Nichols.
And I'm Matthew Warnick.
We'll be bringing you entertainment from the local area musicians, information concerning local businesses, and we'll also help to keep your calendar up to date with schedules for up-and-coming events. Our program is coming at you from Circle of Sound in Olympia, Washington. This full-service recording studio also offers in-house mastering, CD and DVD duplication, digital transfers, and audio restoration. Circle of Sound, reasonable rates, and local convenience.
Today in the studio, we're going to turn the spotlight on Keith and Chris of a group called the Watermen. We're going to play 3 of their original songs and have a really good interview.
Live in a river town, it's spreading little. It's high on the sides and it sinks in the middle. If it rains too much, the river comes down, fills up the low spots all over town. Get down, river, get down, won't you get down, river, get down once again. You have messed up this old town, so get down, river, get down. And over across towns where I wanna go to see my honey, but I don't know. Guess I'm gonna have to row. Looks like the Gulf of Mexico down by the Texaco. Get down, river, get down, won't you get down, river, get down once again. You have messed up this old town, so get down, river, get down. Can drown downtown when that river runs wild. Been happening here ever since I was a child. There ain't nothing you can do to stop it. Just hope for the best and mop up the rest. Get down, river, get down, won't you get down, river, get down once again. You have messed up this old town. Get down, river, get down. Won't you get down, river, get down. Come on, get down, river, get down.
The next song we're going to play is simply called Don't.
Look from the south towards my home. It drives me along. In and out makes me well. Pointed at me as you stare.
Let's welcome into the studio Keith and Chris of the band The Watermen. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well,
Doing
thanks.
well.
Great. And I hear you're family men, so do you want to give a shout out to any of your family? Kids?
To my 12-year-old Elijah and my 9-year-old daughter Annika. Hey, kids.
Yeah, and I'll shout out to my daughters, Acadia and Sierra, and my stepson, Ian, and my lovely wife, Kirsten.
Also
All right.
to my girlfriend and her son, Liz and Winston.
Great. And what kind of music do you guys make?
When people ask me this, I think it's a mixture of folk, country, and pop. It's sort of like just a slow cooking bouillabaisse of organic sounds and the like. It comes from a number of places, but those are the three main ingredients I found.
Yeah, I'd probably answer similarly. I would say Tool, Pearl Jam, and Gillian Welch all mixed up into a neat little pot. And
Awesome.
yeah.
Are these organic sounds instrument generated?
Yes, yes,
Generally.
generally.
It's always a subject on our show. Change of times, electronic music, formula stuff, and real performers and instrumentations.
Yeah,
We always like to delve into that one a little bit.
yeah.
We haven't given ourselves a chance to, work with multiple take stuff. We're sort of 3-4 take musicians, kind of how as we started, and so it gives us a feeling of connection between the creation and the finished product.
Yeah. And so how long have you been making or performing music?
07?
2005 is when we started recording music, and that was when we started our weekly jams sessions, and we found that recording our music really was such an incredible feedback. As we say, the tape doesn't lie. And so I started playing in 1999 and getting more serious in 2004. And then to me, the recording part of our music is when I felt like we really started to blossom, and we had lots of different people come by on Tuesday or Thursday nights and start to lay down tracks. And then we got an awesome opportunity to make an album in 2009 actually. The album came out in 2010.
I was meandering about. My coworker at the high school I teach, her husband was a student at Evergreen State College, and he was taking an audio production class, and he needed recording guinea pigs for sessions. He needed work for his portfolio for his class, and I thought he was joking. I said, "What, you're going to give me free studio time at Evergreen?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's for a class." He goes, "I'll be calling you in May." And I said, "Okay, whatever." Walked away.
I won't hold my breath.
About late May, I get a phone call, and he invites me into the studio, and I recorded for a week, and I was thinking about what I wanted to do. I have a lot of like solo stuff I've written, and how about to compose it. And I said, I'm in a lot of different minds as to how to go forward. Maybe I'll invite Keith for a week. And I was going to invite you for one session.
Wow.
And say, call it good. And the first session was kind of like you could tell in everybody in the room that we had something that we could work towards. And 8 weeks later, pretty much the rest of the summer, we finished tracks and for that album, and it was released later that year.
Yeah. Big shout out to Noah Bonds. He was the guy who got
Yes.
us in there, and it was a relationship where I think he thoroughly enjoys what he does, and Chris and I are in this beautiful studio with microphones that Michael Jackson recorded Thriller on, and a a big old baby grand piano to sit down on, and for Chris to if you look at our CD, he has 4 or 5 instruments he plays on it, and he could come back and lay down a bass track and lay down a piano track. It was just special to me because I felt like all of us wanted to be there, and that was what was really cool.
Yeah.
Evergreen out here has like an amazing recording.
Their comm building is quite quite good. I recommend to a lot of kids coming out of high school who are interested in audio production. I say, you don't need to pay the out-of-state tuition to go to the Berklee School of Music when you've got
Evergreen.
a really quality program here that will at least if you want to go to Berklee, like stay here, save, check out this program, and then go later. If you really still want to go, but it serves a lot of needs musically. So.
And
well, that answered how you guys got together as far as the Watermen, but how long had you known each other before that?
We have this unique circle of friends that can be traced back to Baby Gym at the Olympia Center in downtown Olympia. So our kids were close to 1 year old, and these moms met each other, while their babies were crawling around on the gym mats. And it's really a network of families, close to 20 families,
easily,
that have all hung out in various settings, Labor Day camping trips, Christmas parties, weekly volleyball sessions. It's pretty impressive to me that all of these families have actually stayed in contact, and the kids are all friends, and you have them on the west side of Olympia, Tumwater, the east side. So Chris and I met, it was early 2000s, and dabbled around musically a little, but it wasn't until 2004, 2005 where.
Yeah, I think I remember showing up one night at Rick's house and it being like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then the greatest part about it was that, oh, you do this every Thursday. It's not like just this one time. Sometimes I've come across great musical collaborations, be they outside at a Grateful Dead concert or at a friend's or neighbor's party, where you have a great musical connection with someone you just meet or something, and you go, oh God, that's great, and you mean to exchange numbers or whatever, but the ships drift by. But this was, when I realized this was part of a continuing thing, it allowed me to open up a new avenue, a new sonic avenue.
And that's what the Thursday night sessions are. It's major improv.
Yeah.
Major.
Throw it against the wall, see if it sticks.
Yeah.
And boy, when it does, it can be really something.
Let me see if I got this right. You started doing covers, and then you kind of blossomed into original music, or?
I'd guess so.
Yeah.
Pulling out the songbooks and whatnot. And
I started playing guitar specifically for the purpose of I love to sing, and my friends at the time didn't know any of the songs I like to sing. So I was like, well, I hear you can learn 3 chords, and that'll get you in a lot of trouble. And so I think I'd say I played the campfire circuit for the first, 3 or 4 years of my burgeoning guitar career, and it was purely to sing. And then things got a little more serious. My guitar playing has not evolved at all in the last 13 years, and that's fine. I consider myself a songwriter. I like to write music and lay out a melody for people like Chris, who's truly gifted and almost at the savant status for me when I watch him play. Chris can play any song that he's never heard before and figure it out and on any instrument, and that's never going to be me.
On the same campfire circuit, which I was sometimes a part of, I was called upon to play the old the covers that everybody loves, and so
Kumbaya.
Oh, no.
Michael, row your boat ashore.
More like
Material Girl.
Yeah, think of 80s new wave, and like you can create that on the guitar, can't you? And it was
Flock
with
of
each
seagulls.
yeah with each level, you know, like I'd do a song and it would just be like it would trigger like another memory in their head, and they'd go, "No, I bet you could do this too," and I'm like, "No, I can't go that far." There was always a stopping point, but usually it meant called for a different thing, and so blending my style with Keith's really required me to kind of like just to really look at what I was doing, you know, because my hands were very busy on the fretboard, and his weren't, you know, and you know I'm not saying
Still aren't.
well, right, and it's you know his writing and his influences have influenced my own writing, in that I've the new stuff that I write for myself is way more slowed down and a lot less. You know, I was just writing a new song last night, and I got here comes the change, and I got to double time it here. You know, I got to, and then I'm like, wait, why do I have to double time it? You know, can't I just keep playing these same 4 chords? Yeah. You know, and it's sort of, it's just he's got his collaboration with Keith has gotten me to question how I, you know, just, you know, years and years of how I've looked at how a song should go. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's really important to me because, you know, we influence each other at heart, and that's why we're, I think, a really good, you know, collaborative team.
Well, 2 of our other guys in the past, David Norman and Michael George, have admitted to kind of knowing the basics only when playing instruments, but that they're still good performers, good musicians, and they make good music. I don't think it matters that much.
Not at all. I mean,
being able to know how to do something properly is
absolutely
an achievement in itself.
Right. And
I would say.
Yeah, you take a look at John Lennon.
Yeah.
John Lennon really didn't play. What you hear, you know, the solo on Taxman, that's Paul McCartney. You know, the memorable guitar solos and, you know, the bass line, the music stuff, that was McCartney, you know. But that does not, you know, that does not take anything away from the fact that he's one of the greatest writers of our generation.
Right, yeah, definitely.
You know, so.
And you include, in your albums, you do have some specific covers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what, who do you like to cover the most? Or who are your favorite
not one artist in particular, I would say. Is there one we cover more than Waylon?
Yeah, I think for me, I can't get away from Waylon Jennings and Merle Haggard. I think if you listen to our music, it's hard to escape those guys. Jimmy Rogers, Hank Williams, you know, so many country artists are going to say Hank Williams. It's hard not to mention him. He's just a phenomenal songwriter. The internet has opened up for me music that I just never knew existed. I got kind of linked into, you know, different internet stations that were specific, like old country, honky tonk, you know, no advertisements. And so this one cover that we do, Get Down River, by the Bottle Rockets. I just think 10 years ago, I don't know who the Bottle Rockets are, and how do I get exposed to the Bottle Rockets? And that's just this digital revolution has been awesome to find these new artists and to know that there's artists that grew up maybe around the same music that I did, you know, going in the car with the 8-track player rolling, and it's their own take on it. I look for songs that have emotion in it. Songs that, you know, pull at the heartstrings, but I'm also simple. You know, the Waylon Jennings sound, if you listen to Waylon Jennings, it's the same bass drum beat on every song. Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter. Slow, fast. His guitar work is simplistic. You know, Johnny Cash would be someone in that vein of, gosh, you know, Carl Perkins, it drove him nuts, you know, to play the riffs he was playing because he was an accomplished musician. But that sound, I think, resonates with people.
Yeah.
So the covers, the covers kind of cover the gamut. A funny sidebar to covers, though, with young daughters, I've made a point to kind of include some of their music. So we've had shows where we're busting out some Miley Cyrus songs. We did Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People.
Really?
At our last
That's
show.
pretty cool.
It comes out really good, actually.
Yeah, but
it's one of those things of like, oh no, there's way too much reverb in that song. We won't be able to pull that off. But it's really, it's not. Then again, it's looking at the song and saying, you know what, that song's not about the reverb. It's about a really catchy harmony or whatever.
Taylor Swift. I've found a couple of her songs that are so translatable to the sound. And if I didn't have daughters, would I be saying this? I'm not sure.
Sure.
But I think I could probably argue that there's some solid songwriting.
When you look at, like, they are the pop performers of the generation. They're the ones who's like, okay, they're the voice and the style, of our generation, whether us 40-year-olds, 40-somethings like them or not. And so they're going to be able to afford the top songwriters. And so you're going to get, potentially, you're going to get bubblegum pop and you're going to get repetitive stuff and stuff, you've already heard before. And, but every once in a while you're going to get a riff that's like, oh, that's a great chord change.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's right, they have the best writers, never mind. It's best comedians, David Letterman, Jon Stewart. They don't do it in a vacuum, so.
Yeah. I always imagine Miley, Ray Cyrus's dad, probably writes a lot of her music.
Sure.
I don't know if that's true, but
she, I actually don't know if she, I think the point Chris was making for her specifically is she had an awesome band. Her dad clearly got a band for her. She, through Disney Channel, was going to have songwriters available to her. But she does have some songs that were written by herself that I think are fantastic. And it's kind of fun at some of these shows, like, that was Miley Cyrus. And they're like, what?
Right.
You're
but you put
me.
it alongside Merle Haggard. And,
that drums up a funny mental picture, you guys on stage playing a Miley Cyrus song.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
We warn people.
And I'm sure, like, people probably give you, like, extra props or a little bit of respect for daring to do that.
We like to think so.
I would hope so.
We like to think
so. I'm surely not doing it to embarrass myself or my daughters.
Yeah.
It does come back to this kind of emotional heartstring pulling of a song that just kind of gets you going. And for me, an E minor chord, an A minor. There's songs like I'm a sucker for, E minor C G. It's like, I don't know, can I write 1,000 of those songs? I mean, give me a capo and send me on my way. I love the emotional component of music and the memory component that music, and that's what I hope at the end of the day someone's like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I've always said is a good piece of art is something that has a soul, which means there's something behind it. It's usually emotion.
Yeah.
We've kind of drummed on mainstream music a lot here and even the digital era because a lot of music doesn't have like a soul behind it.
Yeah.
But definitely when it does, you can tell. It's noticeable.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah. And that's probably where being exposed to more pop music than I ever would be because of my daughters. I feel like that soul in some of those songs comes out and it kind of smacks you in the face. And,
every now and then.
Yeah. and you strip down all of the layers they have on that. And, Pumped Up Kicks, that one's definitely been fun. And, my kids were like, what? That's the song with the... How are you doing that?
That song supposedly has like a pretty strong meaning behind it too. I hear a lot of people debate about what it means or what he's really talking about.
Sounds like a shooting spree.
A lot of people say, oh, it's about a kid getting made fun of at school and so he pulls a Columbine, and other people say, no, it's more metaphorical than that. And if you can have that
Interesting.
debate,
Yeah.
that means
Sure.
instantly you
I take
put
it-
something
yeah.
behind your music.
I think you have to play the digital download backward in order to use it.
How do you do that? Just pull
It
the...
says shop at
the
Walmart,
man-
shop at Walmart, shop
Manifesto.
at Walmart. That one? Yeah.
Yes.
Well done.
It is about sneakers, so it's probably a
Oh,
Nike ad in disguise.
Right. Oh, God. Yeah, they haven't gotten their claws in it yet.
So, individually, how long have you guys been making music or performing music? Most of our interview is all the way back to high school.
You go first.
For me, it was, one of those things that I realized I loved watching certain sports, but I really enjoyed playing sports too.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I had an incredibly deep love for music and wasn't making music. And so that
had to change.
Yeah, it just that didn't make any sense to me. And so got my first guitar at a pawn shop in downtown Olympia, January 4th, 1999. And that was it. I don't think I can count trumpet and band in junior high and high school as my musical career.
You couldn't count anything.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, I love to sing. I sing all the time. It's something that makes me feel good, and people don't generally throw things at me while I'm singing. So that
Pays to perform behind chicken wire.
it does. Cyclone fences are my friends. So that's my little story.
Yeah, I picked up on music when I was a kid. My mom saw it in me and was like, we got to get this kid some piano lessons, and so I took him from elementary school to pretty much the end of middle school, and then I was in high school and I didn't want to take lessons anymore. I was like, okay, this chapter's done. I've learned how to, what I was kind of doing was, I've learned how to figure out songs, of more complex nature, and it'll be there, and blah blah blah. And my sister got she had got a guitar for Christmas the previous year, and she went off to college, and she didn't bring it with her, and we had shared a room until then, and I looked at it and I sort of said, wow, what's this? And it was a pretty low end. It was an Alvarez, but it was a low end Alvarez, and it had real difficult action, and it was hard to play. But I'm really in the long run, I'm really grateful I learned on it, because everything else came really easy. The Martin that I have today is just like, I think about the hard days of the Alvarez region and really pressing down for that F chord or whatever, it kind of toughened me up. So, but since then it was always, guitar was a premier instrument that it was so portable. I really liked its portability, and that I can bring music with me. Your ultimate instrument is your voice. That you can bring that anywhere with you. But yeah, and so I stayed with piano, took some jazz bass in college, a little dribble drabble here, dribble drabble there, and I've always felt like I'm a closet drummer. There's a drummer somewhere inside me, I don't take nearly enough time to develop that, but do as much as I can. So I put out a lot of as many sounds as I was comfortable with and really wanted to on the album, so it was good.
You got a third member of your band who couldn't be here today. Is there anything about him you want to mention, just so we can get him some time on our show?
Tor Peterson, our mandolin player. He's shout out to him. He's someone who I also collaborate with on a semi-regular basis. We've played out a couple of times here locally, but he's got what's interesting is for as capable as he is, he said, mandolin's not his favorite instrument. Guitar is really where he's at, and he's really added something to our live show that kind of it just gives our songs more shape on stage, and he continues to do it. He continues to evolve and grow, and for someone who can be kind of set in his ways, it's really refreshing to see that he's as charged up as we are.
Right.
And it's live it adds a real nice flavor to our to our output.
Are you all born in Washington? Are you Washington native, or?
I think Tor's the only one.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm from Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah, born in Worcester, Massachusetts, grew up on Long Island for the first 13 years of my life, and then finished out in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. So, very much a transplant.
I found my way out here in 1990 after college, and just was like, I think this is going to be longer than a summer vacation. This is a really nice place to be. I started in Seattle for 2 years, and then came down here when it was getting too big up there. So this is a really great town to be in. It's a college town. It's got a lot of things. It's equidistant between Seattle and Portland. It's a great place to raise a family.
Definitely. So we do our show because Olympia, this area, Olympic Peninsula, Seattle and whatnot, we have a really rich musical history and a rich musical society. What do you guys think about it? Or do you think you could do the same thing in another state, or do you like performing music here specifically, or?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I would agree that we have a rich, diverse musical, city or area. I wish we had more family-friendly or just music-centric venues to play in town. Very thankful for no more smoking in bars. That's definitely nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
But
that is the first time I've heard somebody happy about that.
wow.
But I understand.
Ask any bartender, and
Oh, yeah?
they're going to be living 15 years longer
Yeah,
on
no
average.
doubt. I definitely agree that it's a better
Yeah.
thing. People usually, they complain because they want to go to a bar and smoke. But
yeah,
if you don't smoke, that's a big issue.
yeah.
When you play, you're kind of like
And singing.
the word for
I
the night,
imagine.
yeah.
But yeah, I think I think we have some venues. The concert in the Park series at Sylvester Park in the summer is really awesome. That's something I wanted to do, and we haven't done that. The Farmers Market is a pretty awesome venue that can expose artists to a really big group of people. The bar scene, though, I would say for me personally, I just don't know if it's. I wish it was bigger. I remember in Seattle, I was there from 92 to 96, and we kind of found a group of musicians that we liked, and they were playing in some type of combination almost every night at various places in Seattle, and I felt like we could go anywhere in Seattle every night and see really good music, at the the bakery, at the Fisherman's Terminal, and so down here, I'm willing to admit that I'm in my 40s and I don't know what I'm talking about. But
your antenna has to go up a little bit more here to catch the good stuff. You have to be a little more plugged in.
I thought the East Side was a pretty awesome venue for music, and that stopped. The Pig Bar that we mentioned earlier, I think that's a fantastic venue. It's pretty small, but you can still pack a bunch of people in there.
Played actually a couple of gigs at a pizzeria here on the right next to East Side called Al Forno's, and it's run by a guy who's just a stellar dude. He has another pizzeria in Portland than this one, and he's got a little place in the corner, and we can just really knock it out. It's got a good atmosphere.
Yeah, so a lot of people think Al Forno's has some of the best Italian food in town.
Yeah, I like their style. It's good flavors, handmade sausages they put on their pizzas and calzones. Yeah, he treats us well.
Yeah,
we
he does.
typically play there for Arts Walk, so we'll be playing this Arts Walk April 26th, Friday night, starting at about 6 o'clock. It's family friendly. Get lots of people passing by.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been a good partnership.
We've got this little window, so our backs to the window, occasionally turn around, see an old friendly face walking by looking for some art. It's good. Yeah.
It's funny what you mentioned about venues, because we've had that discussion before in here. It seems like kind of a venue vacuum, and I think what it has a lot to do with is maybe the bars and restaurants and people that would have venues might actually take it for granted how much musical talent they have in this area, because they could just say, hey, we're having a show, and easily get 10 people who would be interested.
Right.
It would actually be worth putting
that's
up
a good
there.
point.
And there's a lot of venues that actually make the artists bring in the fans, or bring in the audience, even make them pay, because they can find somebody to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there like one person you can name as like your biggest influence that would get you into music?
Got me into
Like
music.
an artist or somebody you know?
My gateway kind of came through progressive rock, as my 70s and progressive rock, as my brothers were, it was one of the stories of like them like leaving, either for work one day or for a few months for a job, and me, fiddling down in their collection of vinyl and going, always starting by judging the book by the cover. Ooh, this cover looks cool. I wonder what the sound's coming out of it. Sometimes it's just wrong, but sometimes, it's just spot on. And that was kind of my entry point into what I would write today. And then my sister, I had 2 older brothers and 4 older sisters, and whatever they were spinning on the turntable was bound to catch my ear, and good and bad, So I took in a lot of, I would say, just remarkable music and a lot of mediocre stuff in my head, and it's kind of what comes out to what I write today.
Just old rock, generally.
Yeah, old rock,
Yeah.
and but folk running the gambit. Then my sister comes home from somewhere and she goes, "Oh my God, AC/DC," and I'm like, "What? Isn't that something about electricity?"
Right.
She holds up the album like, "Yeah, see, there's a little bolt," and she's like, "Listen to this," and it's like, "Bong, bong," and I'm like, "They're playing a freaking bell." What the heck? She's like, "Wait, just wait,"
Right.
and I'm like, okay,
Oh, that's awesome.
okay. Oh, who are these guys? Oh, they've been around for how many years?
Yeah.
Rock is so funny. Growing up in the era we've grown up in is so funny, because to a lot of our kids, the book is closed. Like a book is closed. And we were.
You mean that time period?
Yeah, just
Like a rock time
to
period?
kind of, I don't know if you want to call it, use these terms, the great, one of the great artistic musical renaissances of the 60s and 70s is kind of, it's come to a close. They're kind of they're trying to reconfigure it, and there are bands, there are bands that come out creating some good stuff, but a new chapter has started.
Mm-hmm.
New chapters have been started, as should be the case. But it's interesting how the era we grew up in, because we weren't living in it. I was born when it was happening in '68, but we were living with a still open book of kind of possibilities of what's going on here.
It reminds me of last night. One of my friends on Facebook put up actually Lazaro, someone who's been on our show before, put up this video of Jethro Tull live at Madison Square Garden, and I was listening to it, and I was like, man, I used to hear this stuff. My dad would play it all the time, and I'd be in the room listening to it. And I commented, I was like, man, they just don't make things like they used to, and then I put quotes music, and he and a lot of other people liked that comment because it's true.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. How about you, brother?
You know,
One influence.
Yeah, I lived a very sheltered life musically as a child. My family listened to two types of music, country and Western. And I honestly did not know other music. You know, you couldn't help but hear certain songs, you know, at a sporting event or on advertisements or, you know, kids at school saying stuff, but I was so sheltered.
Were you a special needs child?
I rode the short bus.
Okay.
They just call them special.
And
Needs.
still am. But yeah, and for me, I didn't know any better, and it wasn't something that I defended as that was the only music. It's just what I knew. And so Patsy Cline, Tammy Wynette, Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, the Oak Ridge Boys, Johnny Cash, Johnny Paycheck, George Jones, Hank Williams, Ernest Tubb, this guy named Dick Curlis, you know, and my family loved music. We were always kind of going to some type of country and music festival in the summertime. It was awesome.
Up in New England?
Well, it would be, we had an opportunity to go across country twice, and so we were in Texas for a month, and you know, my parents were out every night. You know, they met Don Williams' band, and we met Willie Nelson one time and went to his first picnic in 1984, and there was for 1980. And so it was funny is people go, oh, you know, did you grow up with your parents playing the fiddle and the band? No, I mean, we listened to music and they were passionate about it, but we didn't, there was no instrument playing in our house. And then we moved to New Hampshire in 1983 and kind of finding my way around with my new classmates in a small town. And, you know, your story, Chris, about, you know, AC/DC and like, whoa, mine was heavy metal, you know, just the whole hair metal era of music was like, are you kidding me? You can play a guitar this dirty and loud and these vocals, like, I mean, you know, my parents were like, what are you doing? You know, what is this garbage? And not, you know, judgmental, but just like, yeah, I'd go to bed to it, you know. I'd have it all, just, it was it. And then the next big step was going to college and to meet people from all across the country who were passionate about music, and they take you back to their dorm room and show you their 1,000 cassette, you know, their little wood slots. And you know, I just remember my freshman year coming home just like, wow, you know. And so that's where, for me, it was
what
like,
missing out on?
Yeah. It was clearly that I loved music. My parents love music, but they love country and Western. Yeah. And for me, my evolution was, I love music. You know, I want to hear everything. And so when people ask, you know, what my Desert Island disc is, it's like, well, Gillian Welch and David Rawlings or Tool. You know, gosh. And people are like, I don't get it. And that's a no-brainer. I mean, I could be happy with either of them.
Yeah. Do you get that response here in like Olympia? Because there are a lot of people like that around here.
Yeah, no, I think you make a good point. I think Olympia is, you know, very diverse and very accepting and very open to new ways. And that's that potpourri of music out there now that when we were growing up wasn't. The burgeoning world of rock and roll. I mean, you have these artists who we consider gods now, Pete Townsend, you know, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix. They were just like, what? Like, I can do what with this amp and They were figuring everything out for literally the first time.
Yeah.
And now it's a much harder challenge to create something more original and the sound and pay homage to the past. You know, I definitely believe there are no original ideas. It's really your take on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we talked earlier about the complexity of music or the lack of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I think about. You know, I'm not complex musically. I love 2-chord songs, and you know, how does that translate? You know, Stevie Vai is very complex. You know, we can appreciate complexity. You know, mastering of a tool or an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned earlier the Lumineers. I didn't know they existed. Saw them on the Grammys. The song Ho Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 3 or 4 chords. There's no lead guitar. There's no, you know, the guy playing the drum is standing and he's playing a bass drum and he's playing a tambourine and he smacks one crash cymbal every once in a while. And it works. And it works as well as you know, the most complex music I've ever heard.
Mother's invention or something like that.
So
Yeah. I kind of relate with you too. My mom always listened to pop country
Mm-hmm.
and pop 80s, 90s music like Wham or
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
New Kids. I've had to hear a lot of those songs.
Sure.
Yeah,
Or New Kids on the Block. And then my dad always listened to 60s rock.
nice.
And I didn't listen to any music other than what I heard them listen to until high school.
Yeah,
I got one year for Christmas, I asked for a radio player or a CD player with a radio, and I just started listening to music.
nice.
So I jumped in kind of late on the music scene, but became a big fan of music.
Yeah,
Nowadays, people think I'm cool because I know who all the old 60s rock artists are. A lot of my music purist friends or friends who are really big into music, one day I did a karaoke of Aqualung,
Yeah.
nice.
and then they were like, "Oh man, that's so cool." They didn't even know I knew who that was.
Right.
I was like, I probably listened to the song before you were born, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
Yeah. So we talk about a lot what goes behind music. What are like the creative processes you guys go through when making a song, especially being a band? That's a unique dynamic.
And being fathers, being
Right.
know,
Oh, yeah.
sort of
Extra bit of influence.
we say, oh yeah, we meet every once a week, and it's that's we don't really we haven't set aside the time we set aside besides Thursday nights is to get ready for a gig, and so a lot of the creativity and that what we're going to bring to the table, if we don't make it there on Thursday, we're going to make it independently,
so is the Watermen's original material a collaborative effort, or is it individual?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I think it ends up being collaborative, but it starts
Yeah.
individual.
Songwriting for me, I always had in my head that you had your cup of coffee and it was a Saturday morning and you sat down with a notepad and a pen and you wrote a song. And I've never done that. All of my songwriting comes from improvisation, finding a melody on the guitar that I like. We record it. I'll transcribe the lyrics of what was recorded, and that's where the cleanup process happens. That didn't rhyme. I don't like that, or it's too long. You kind of narrow it down. But this kind of creative process that we go through, and that's actually one of the parts of being an artist I struggle with, is I really enjoy watercolor painting.
Mhm.
I never paint the same painting twice.
Well, you can't with watercolors. They're all over the place.
Yeah. I like to paint how I feel that day, and our Thursday nights are really about how we feel. You could say it's a therapy session, it's a counseling session, it's letting steam off, it's what's topical in that moment,
Yeah.
and it's a release. And so when a show comes up, it's like, right, gotta practice this song, 15 times, and you get, and that part's hard for me because then it becomes less art and more, an act. But we want to be on the same page. We are creating a product.
Yeah.
But the songwriting really comes from, I think you have to say it's collaborative. It takes effort. It takes determination.
Yeah. It takes sort of, what's the word I'm like, kind of a deliberative attitude. You have to be really intentional with it. And so it's kind of ends up picking the cream of the cream, with us. And where we collaborate is really, or where I feel like I'm collaborating with him is picking out, like when I sing around him, when I harmonize, where to harmonize, and where to let his voice go solo, and I would say one thing that's missing from our album that we want more of, which we do a lot more of on stage, is 2-part harmonies.
Yeah.
We didn't get around to working that in. I think our next album will include that dramatically more.
Our music is about having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we have fun. We laugh. We have nights, it's never serious. I mean, it's serious to the point of wanting to perform well. But our Thursday nights, I think the reason we're together is we have fun. We laugh. We laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
It's fun is a huge part of it, and I don't know if that's a constant for musicians, but for us, we've laughed probably a lot more than I ever thought we would laugh about making music.
Yeah.
And I think we do have some fun on stage with some of our music.
Oh, yeah.
We have a new one called Sausalito that we hope Pepperidge Farm Corporation doesn't sue us for. But, we had fun. It was eating some Sausalito cookies one night, and
out it came.
Something
to be on the next Watermen album.
That's good. It doesn't sound like.
What's the name of it? If you piss on my leg, what?
Oh, piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
Tell me it's raining. Thank you.
Rick suggested the name for their next
Rick
album.
has already collaborated. Become the fourth Waterman.
He wants to make sure he's on the album. Let's give him some credit.
Titled by Rick.
Right.
It sounds like you guys aren't too pretentious then, as artists.
Gosh,
no. Yeah.
I have no
Which is
right
good-
to be
which is
pretentious.
Yeah,
I'm not a
it's,
fan
I
of
guess
pretentious artists.
pretensions drop when your waistline does too.
The reason I brought up specifically On My Roof is because I actually like that subject matter. I really like to applaud original ideas in songs.
Yeah.
Because it's very common a song will either be about God, love, or drugs.
Yeah.
So when I hear somebody with like a very original idea, I always like to bring it up. So what exactly made you write that song?
I think that was clearly, that was anger, I think. That song came from a great deal of frustration and heartbreak for people of New Orleans and the Gulf Coast. August 29th, 2005, that Category 5 hurricane
Definitely.
slammed, and was not impressed with our government's response prior to the storm. As we all have learned, it's not like a hurricane just magically appears. And they had 6 solid days to get ready for that. And I was heartbroken about what people went through.
Definitely.
I was heartbroken at our response as a country to that event. It's hard for me not to think that low-income minority people were not helped as much as more affluent people in that case.
Right, yeah.
And so the song really came from anger. And there was, different iterations of that song over a couple of months that ended up into that final product. I probably had 9 or 10 verses, and I narrowed it down.
Yeah.
But the second part of that song is something that...
Oh, that was a pun I didn't mean to create. Sorry.
It's okay.
I celebrate this guy named Sam Thompson who lives in Seattle now, and he's an ultra marathoner. And he's someone who can run over 100 miles fairly easily at one time. And he, to raise money for Katrina victims, ran 51 marathons in 50 days. He ran in every state. He ran 2 marathons in one day, so he could run in Washington D.C. on the last day. And that was something that, you know, impressed me, that someone would be able to physically do that, the reason he did that. And the side story for him is he was in a pretty big car wreck when he was 17, shattered his leg and pelvis, had a huge titanium rod put in his leg, and the doctors told him that he was not going to be able to run. He was a runner at the time, and he said, you know, you'll walk again, but your running career is over. And now you have this guy who is an ultra marathoner.
Showed them.
So,
are there any major goals you'd like to reach, or have you already as a band or individual musicians?
I'd like to put more songs on the next album. You know, I feel like, you know, Keith's doing a lot of work, you know, and so I want to be able to. I want to be more than just, you know, an instrumentalist for him. You know, at the end of the day, I want to choose the best songs to go on the album, but and I want to invite. I want to, you know, invite other guest musicians to be a part of it. So that kind of, you know, small-term measurable goals, and work on, working on keeping focus on why I do this.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So, you?
yeah, I think for me, it's the creative process. I just don't want to lose the creative process part of it. I enjoy writing music and sometimes get scared that that's going to dry up or end.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes things that we love, we can let slip away for reasons just as life getting in your way. You know, you become quote unquote too busy.
Life gets in our way because we let it. Yeah, totally.
But I love performing, love sharing our music. Would love to maybe play bigger venues someday.
Yeah.
So, okay, any final thoughts? Advice?
Advice. Advice for the youth.
Hygiene tips?
Hygiene tips. Yeah.
Anything?
No government cheese for musicians.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, support your local acts out there. They're be watchful and be open to sounds you didn't expect to hear. That's my final thought on things, because that's
good.
kind of what that's the basis of my satisfaction for music in general.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd probably say, you know, follow your heart. I love seeing people with passion share their passion about their subject, and so I hope, you know, anyone listening is, if they're on the fence, you know, put themselves out there. I get moved and inspired by people that put themselves out there, that open themselves up and share themselves. And so,
where can our listeners hear your music?
We're playing our next show at Al Forno's, downtown Olympia, 4th Avenue, right next to the East Side Tavern.
Unless you hire us sooner, whereby which we'll be playing somewhere else sooner.
Exactly. That's April 26th. And then we have a MySpace page. It's just myspace.com/The Watermen.
You haven't upgraded to Facebook?
And we have a Facebook page that is not very polished, but this has given me incentive to polish that up a little more. And then you can buy us on CD Baby, and they automatically put you on iTunes, and they put you on Amazon. You can buy us, a song at a time or the whole album.
And how can people contact you?
I think probably the best way would be the Facebook or MySpace. Just send us a message on there. It's probably the easiest way.
Okay.
Feedback about our shows is always appreciated. Constructive criticism is always something that I'm way open to.
Constructive.
Yeah.
Not you suck.
Not you suck, and not you guys
Or
like just
you're awesome.
yeah, rock like
Constructive,
you rock like
definitely.
the Scorpions Hurricane. It's like no, the 80s are over, pal. I'm sorry. That hurricane has passed. along
Someone
with Katrina.
ever say that to you? Oh.
Well, thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Really
guys.
appreciate it.
That was Keith and Chris of the Watermen, and we're gonna leave you with their politically moving song, "On My Roof."
What is that flying low? Could it be our commander-in-chief? Did he cut short his vacation? Can he see all the devastation? I'm on my roof. I'm on my roof. Standing on my rooftop to die. I tell my daughters, please don't cry. Someone will come and rescue us. Well, I hope that they don't bring a bus. I'm on my roof. I'm on my roof. I hear that Trent Lott's porch was lost. How much is that really gonna cost? Bet that he gets his first. You better serve the best before you get to the worst. I'm on my roof. I'm on my roof.
That music means it's calendar events time, and we're going to be making up for last week. On Tuesday, the Military Widows meeting, the Nisqually South Sound chapter will meet at 11 a.m. for lunch in the garden room at Panorama Retirement Restaurant, 1751 Circle Drive, Southeast Lacey. Call 360-438-5133 for more information. On February 21st, Professor Victor Minaldo will speak on Latin American exceptionalism at 7:30 p.m. at the Olympia Center, 222 Columbia Street, Northwest. Admission is free. Also, on February 21st, the Olympia Lacey Community Meeting. A community call for ceasefire will begin at 7 p.m. at Lacey Community Center, 6729 Pacific Avenue, Southeast. On February 22nd, there's the Dance Club of America Ballroom Dance. A class will be offered at 7 p.m., followed by an all-ages dance 8 to 11 p.m. at the Olympia Eagles, 805 4th Avenue East. Admission is $7 for students and members, $12 for everyone else. Call 360-754-6697 for details. Construction, flight, and maneuvering guidance will be offered from 1 to 3:30 p.m. at Olympic Flight Museum, 7637 Old Highway 99 Southeast Olympia. A distance and spot landing contest will begin at 2:30 p.m. Admission is $7, includes all construction materials. Call 360-705-3925 for details. Also on the 23rd is the Flapjack Fundraiser. The Olympian High School Kiwanis Key Club will host a pancake breakfast from 8 to 10 a.m. at Olympia Applebee's. Tickets are $10 and will be available at the door. Call 360-918-1193 for details. And that's all events for this week.
This is Rick Nichols
And Matthew Warnick.
with OPS, wishing all of you a great week. We look forward to you joining us next week when our guest will be
Doris Simpson Hill. We'll be doing a phone interview and we'll play some pipe organ music from her CD, The Burning Bush.
So until then, goodbye for now.
We'd love to hear from you, so contact us at olympicpeninsulaspotlight@gmail.com.